Good evening, everybody. We are going to be analyzing the book Leadership, The Successful Use of Conflict Principles, and we're going to be looking at the Leadership Paradox 1 by Samuel Ullman. In this group, Team 1, we have Jose Mejia, Ryan Hayes, and Tamara Bell. In reading the book, something that resonated with me was a quote: "The longer I study leadership, the less certainty I find in it. Opposites not only coexist, but can even enhance one another." Leadership is about everything that makes up life, good and bad. Samuel Ullman, in his book Leadership, The Successful Use of Conflict Principles, introduces us to the paradoxes found in leadership. Ullman mentions that such paradoxes are essential for leadership. For example, conflict and disagreements can lead to failure in organizations. However, a leader can listen, collaborate, and problem solve, which can lead to much better positive results in an organization. Understanding the paradox of conflict and harmony can lead to much better long-term success. As we learn about servant leadership, transformation, and other leadership styles, it is important to understand that there is no script. Leadership is complex and unpredictable. Leadership is not technical or mechanical. It's a complexity of paradoxes that stretch and pull. Those leaders that understand the direction it is going will be able to lead with success. We're going to read The Paradoxes of Servant Leadership, a poem by Brewer, as cited by Hansel in 1987. This poem is about paradoxes of servant leadership. It captures the essence and complexities of leadership. It is being able to shift between realities, which allow leaders to move between inner as well as external contexts. So let's read the poem. Strong enough to be weak, successful enough to fail, busy enough to make time, wise enough to say I don't know, serious enough to laugh, rich enough to be poor, right enough to say I'm wrong, compassionate enough to discipline, important enough to be last, leading enough to serve. Leaders must be able to handle the day-to-day demands while also planning for the future. These paradoxes in this poem show that we must establish the expectations, whether short-term or long-term. As leaders, we need to understand that paradoxes exist, and we must be able to manage them to produce positive outcomes. Visionary leadership versus instant gratification. The paradox of vision, long term, and taking control of today, short term, is another paradox that leaders must understand. Leaders must be able to plan long term visions that will allow them to see problems ahead of time and take appropriate action. Visions depict a clear picture for the organization that will allow for momentum and motivation to build among the staff. Ullman states that it is better to visualize the future and then think and act today in a way that will move the company inexorably toward your vision of a great tomorrow. Visions allow and give leaders the affordability of time. Ultimately, a vision helps establish discipline and expectations that will carry a leader and the followers into success. Ullman states that short-term planning alone will lead to failure. Leaders living in the moment do not have flexibility to deal with crisis in a timely manner. Instant gratification and profitability can be a good cause for the moment, but will ultimately not lead to success. As Ullman states, the company owners who have no clear picture of their future do not know in which direction to bend. It is human nature that dictates that we want what we can have now. Steve Jobs comes to mind when we discuss great visionary leaders that were able to plan ahead by establishing a solid vision in their organization, but also taking care of the day-to-day activities. Great leaders understand that long-term and short-term planning must coexist, and there is always failure lurking around the corner if they are treated in isolation. This paradox must live in every leader. Ullman states that being a successful leader is not determined by fate nor good fortune, but by a succession of successful days. To add individual successful day is to take care of the now, the day-to-day activities, but adding all these successful days leads to the vision. Let's watch a video by Steve Jobs. From his video, we can see his long-term planning, but also his daily expectations that led to success. Reflection. There's only what's ahead. To conclude our PowerPoint presentation, we're going to listen to the Ooh La La by the Faces. My favorite lyric is, I wish that I knew what I know now when I was younger. As leaders, we have to take care of the now and have the skill sets to develop a vision from the experiences we face daily. As Ullman states, if the number one cause of business failure is lack of vision, then the number two cause is lack of focus on the right things. We all wish to go back in time and take our knowledge with us.
I wish that I knew what I know now. But when I was younger, I wish that I knew what I know now. But when I was stronger, the can such a pretty show to steal your heart away. The backstage back on earth again. The dressing rooms are great. They come on strong and it ain't too long, but I make you feel a man. But love is blind and you soon will find you're just a boy again.
Thank you for taking the time to take this journey about learning about leadership paradox with our team. Have a good evening.